welcome to the Skeptic Zone, the podcast from Australia for science and reason.
Hello from Richard Saunders. It's the Skeptic Zone, show number 111 for the 3rd of December 2010. Well, back from TAM. TAM's over. TAM's done. 2 years of planning, so much work, so much fun. It's all a bit of a blur to me, to be honest, and I'm sure it's a blur to the other organisers, Rachel Dunlop, Eran Sergeyev, Joe Benamu, and Tim Mendham. To all those people who came to TAM, thank you very much. Big thank you to James Randi for coming all the way over and really putting the icing on the cake for TAM, and of course, all our guests. What I have for you this week is my sort of weird behind-the-scenes look, some interviews, some social times, odd bits and pieces, covering TAM and a little bit of our trip to Melbourne after TAM with Brian Dunning and Rebecca Watson. But let's kick off with my short interview with Rebecca Watson as I collected her from Sydney Airport. Here we are in the car, and the first time in Sydney for Rebecca Watson.
That's right. It's my first time. I'm very excited.
You just got off the plane?
Just got off the plane, yep. I was expecting to be handed a koala bear or something, that I could cuddle with. Or, like in Hawaii, when you get off the plane, they put the leis on you. I thought maybe there'd be something similar here.
But throw a koala at you.
Right, just chuck it at you, yeah. But so far it's been a real disappointment. Real disappointment.
Well, you've only been here 20 minutes.
So disappointed. I'm just saying you're going to have to work very hard for the next several hours.
Well, we've turned on some nice weather for you.
I've noticed. Yeah, you do have this sun thing happening, which I'd forgotten about.
Now, you were just telling me you've been busy lately doing other conventions and things.
Yeah, I kicked off my world tour this past weekend.
Your world tour?
yeah, in the middle of nowhere, Missouri. And they were all very excited that it was my first stop before Sydney and then Melbourne and then New Zealand. And
right.
They're like, yay, Springfield. So yeah, I've been keeping busy, but it's all just been warm up for TAM Australia.
Oh, yeah.
This is the big one. This is the big game.
It's the big one. It's the big league.
Yeah, that's
you've
right.
Made it.
That's right. I feel like I've been drafted.
You know you've made
it
now.
Yes, exactly. This is going on the resume.
I certainly hope so. I was at the airport about this time yesterday picking up the rest of SGU.
I've heard of them.
Geo. Yeah, and a lot of other hangers-on and family and all sorts of people. Mm-hmm. That was fun, and Geo and I had a nice Thai lunch with Dr. Rachie yesterday, and I'm going to see if we can do the same with you.
Yeah, I've heard that that's the traditional way to greet tourists, is to take them out to lunch with Dr. Rachie. She's very busy, so I'm excited that she has time for a lunch with me as opposed to thousands of people come in every day through that airport.
They do.
So,
they do.
Only a select few, right, make it to lunch.
Lunch with Dr. Rachie.
So yeah, I'm very excited about that. I'm hoping that there will be a koala there.
Only on the plate.
Oh, no.
Fricassee.
At a vegetarian Thai place. Is it Foala?
Well, Rebecca, it's great that you've finally made it to Australia after all these years. Your fans can't wait. They probably want to have lunch with you too.
That's fine. Well, that's why, TAM sold out so quickly that we started getting these emails from people saying, couldn't get tickets, but we really want to see you. So I said, screw it. I got nothing better to do but bum around Australia a while. And bum around doesn't mean the same thing in American as it does in...
Yes, it does.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
So I've got nothing better to do. So I booked a bunch of different dates. I'm going down. We're doing the cruise and stuff too. The dinner
Melbourne,
for other people. Then Melbourne, and then over to New Zealand.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't be happier to not only get to go on a vacation someplace so beautiful that I've never been before, but to also have the chance to meet so many new fans and friends I haven't met yet.
And a lot of people here are very excited because normally they just wouldn't get the chance to meet you guys. You know, they wouldn't meet you, they wouldn't meet the rest of SGU or Geo.
Right.
Randy
Geo's being
himself,
a big tour
Randy's
too.
tomorrow. He's arriving tomorrow.
Super.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually just with Randy at Skepticon.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, we're going to be on similar
He must be
messed up
excited,
schedules. Yeah,
He's in fine
He was in. Yeah, he was looking good. He's looking very Randy. You cannot keep that man
No,
down.
you can't. Absolutely.
Try as Sylvia Brown might.
All right, well, it's about another 10 minutes and we're in the city, so...
Good. Excited.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you, Richard.
It's now Tuesday night? Tuesday evening? Monday. Tuesday. I'm sitting here at a table in Chinatown with Steve Roberts, Joe Benamou from The Zone, Chris Higgins from Melbourne. Evan, what are you doing?
I was trying to do a little Chinese background music.
Jennifer, Evan and Jennifer, and of course, the man who loves to play with chopsticks.
This is what they sound like. Ready? Right.
Geo, George Hrab himself.
One-handed. And it's not affected by the Coriolis effect at all. The sound of one hand chopping.
Now, Geo, you joined most of SGU and family and went to the Blue Mountains today.
That's who those people were. Oh, this makes total sense now. Okay. I'm thinking, who is like this clan of Pete Novellum? It's crazy. Yes, we saw the Blue Mountains. We saw kangaroo. I don't know what the plural of kangaroo is, but we saw that. We saw cockatoo. We saw chum-chummers. We saw bitty banger-wangers. We saw giblets. It was great. We went.
One American for one Aussie.
Is that the deal? Is that a free agency kind of deal? Or how does that work?
That was Jay Novella interrupting Geo.
We went. That's what I was saying. It's like, yeah.
We've got. Let me describe the scene for you here. We've got. We're in a Chinese restaurant in Chinatown. Strangely enough, we've upstairs, and they've got two giant tables for us, and we're filling both tables with podcasters and bloggers and all sorts of people.
If a bomb goes off in Sydney, if it is hit by a meteor this weekend, skepticism is so screwed. It is so screwed. Like, I think Sylvia Brand will be the most skeptical person like on the planet. I think, which is the thing. So hopefully Phil Plate's prediction will not come
exactly.
true. Right. But it's just amazing. It's amazing. We haven't even started yet.
Yeah.
We haven't even started yet.
I'm really pleased that it was such a great day, beautiful, sunny day for you to go and see the Blue Mountains today.
Absolutely beautiful. We did this one thing where we went down a mine car. What was that park called? The Jameson Mine? No, is it?
Oh, the mine.
The mine. What's the mine? We don't know what it's called. I don't feel so bad. I don't remember what the mine is called. Katoomba Mine, where not only do you get onto this powered descent machine, which leads you into this pit of despair and opens up, at a 52-degree pitch into this depth thing, but then ends up in this lovely tropical sort of woodland thing that you walk around on lovely. It's just fantastic, just absolutely gorgeous and fantastic. We saw the Three Sisters cliffs. Which was beautiful. Again, the weather was perfect, and no jet lag. That's the other thing too.
All you guys are coping so well.
Yes. We did a show in Vancouver on Saturday night. We were in Vancouver and sort of went straight through right to the plane at midnight and did 14 hours on the plane. All woke up and we lost the day, but it didn't matter because now it was Monday and we were in Sydney. And we hit the ground running, and everyone is fine. And now Rebecca has joined us, and we're good to go.
It's Tuesday, actually.
No, yesterday. I'm saying yesterday we were all good to go. We made the day. We didn't have that. Yeah, we didn't have that nap that 2:00 nap that you just feel like you want to strangle a kitten. We didn't have that thing, which was great.
That railway in Katoomba, I think, is the steepest railway in the world.
I saw the certificate saying Guinness Book most steep. Yeah.
Up and down.
Ironically, up was scarier than down.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah,
It was.
absolutely.
Because you see where you've been, or
You just feel more suspended.
Right.
It's sort of when you're going backwards, you feel more hung, which is a problem we don't like to have sometimes. But I thought going down was more frightening though, because when you go into the darkness,
yes.
you don't know where you're going.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting it to be that steep. There's no seat belts. You Aussies don't have like lawsuits where people can sue each other, and yeah, it's amazing. So it's you sit in this very recumbent position to begin with, wondering why you're staring at the ceiling until you're at this vertical pitch and you realize, oh, that's why, because now I'm sitting normally. So just really cool, really cool.
And I'm with James Randi in the Botanic Garden.
I beg your pardon.
Barden's here in Sydney, and there's some bats having an argument up there, I think.
Oh, yeah, look. Yes, a discussion of some sort. I don't speak bat, so I wouldn't know.
Well, it's delightful to have you here, Randy, for the amazing meeting. Very exciting. Lots of people are very excited about it. And despite having just travelled from the US, here you are with us, walking through the botanics, hale and hearty.
Yes, I am, and having a good time of it. This is just beautiful. Wonderful to see.
It's. I think we've turned on the weather for you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for your courtesy. Well, Australians are like that.
We are.
That's what I found.
Well, more bats ahead.
All righty, let's go.
Bats, Rebecca.
Bats.
Bats.
We're in bat country.
We are. They're everywhere.
We've got to make way for the vehicle.
I think you'll have to take some bat with you.
Well, yeah, I assume that would be my souvenir. I'm trying to get one, but they won't come down here. I'll be damned if I'm going up there to get one.
Whoa, look at that one.
Wow. There you go. Yeah.
Look at that one. Look at that one there.
It's the same one.
So we're under all...
Like 3 feet or something?
Yeah, easily. More, maybe. It's with Evan Bernstein now from the Skeptic's Guide to the Universe, and we've arrived in bat country here in the Sydney Botanic Gardens, and it's fun for me to watch all of you guys looking up at
fruit bat. Yeah, I know. I lived in D.C. for a while.
Yeah.
So, of course, I've been to every museum in D.C., Washington, D.C. a million times. But it was still fun to bring people there and show them the stuff.
Yeah. And the kids are loving it, too.
Yeah.
Well, when do they get to see these kinds of things, I mean, 200 bats in a tree like this in the daytime? You just don't get this where we're from.
I wonder what they're saying up there.
Saying, stupid people, let us sleep. Get away.
Now here's a little excerpt from TAM itself, just the very beginning of TAM. And following that, the next day, the awards where the bent spoon was given out, plus Skeptic of the Year and the Fred Award.
Oh, they were. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the amazing meeting. Let's hear it. Put into the kits because it's like we want to prove they don't work. Does that mean you want to stuff up here? No, it doesn't. It means we've got 3 days of an amazing meeting for everybody. In fact, we've really got 2 days, but we've got an appendix today before the meeting. That's all going to be explained in a very quick moment because for the official welcome, which is tomorrow morning, a preamble to the official welcome, please would you welcome to the stage Richard Saunders and Rachel Dunlop from the organising committee.
Hello, Rachel.
How are you?
I'm busy, but I'm well and I'm happy. Welcome everybody to this extra day, a special extra day of very interesting talks kicking off soon with paranormal in Australia. A very few quick mentions from me. One, I must acknowledge the fact that the Australian Skeptics founder, Mark Plummer, is joining us here today. I think he's towards the back there. A big hand for our founder, Mark. The sad news is Jay Novella is here. We'll cope with that later. Keep an eye out for the organisers in purple shirts will be as helpful as we can be to you all. Forgive us if we look very busy. And I'll pass you over to Rachel Dunlop, Dr. Rachie, of course.
For us to say, Paul's going to go through some housekeeping for everyone so you know how things are going to work this weekend. But most of all, I want everyone to enjoy themselves, and you're probably going to meet a lot of people here this weekend that you only know by their Twitter names. I know I do. I know Medtech's in here, and what's her real name? Nobody knows. So a lot of people have their Twitter names on their name tags, and please be skeptical and be friendly and have a great time.
Thank you.
It's now time for the annual Australian Skeptic Awards, and who better to hand them out and deal with them and discuss them than President Iran Sergeyev and Richard Saunders. And Jim Bingham helping out on bass. And Rachel Dunlop as well, apparently. It's not in the menu.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Bruce and Dr. Paul Willis. I keep getting that wrong. Well, here it is, everybody. The Great Bent Spoon Award from Australian Skeptics for the most preposterous piece of paranormal or pseudoscientific piffle in the last 12 months. We have, there were many unwilling nominations for this award. A surprise no one wants to get. It's bloody heavy. We had 3 out of all the nominations that really caught our eye, and those of the skeptics around Australia who got to consider this year. The 2 runners-up with dishonourable mentions are from the wonderful website of Homeopathy Plus, Fran Sheffield. Now, actually, everybody go, ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you. This is the website that advocates homeopathic vaccination and was recently lamenting the fact that there weren't enough homeopaths in Haiti to help out after the earthquake. The second dishonourable runner-up and worthy of your raspberry goes to Power Balance. 1, 2, 3. The only good thing that's come out of Power Balance is we get to wear these great placebo bands. Hooray! What an amazing thing that is. And there's copies all around the world. There's ECAN, there's Balance Power. There's all sorts of things I can't remember, but basically the bits of rubber with a holograph inside. And they do all the tricks, and we won't get into that now. So they're our 2 runners-up. But the skeptics around Australia this year have decided to award a wonderful bent spoon. I think the wood comes from Noah's Ark. Rumour has it Uri Geller was in the room when the spoon actually bent. I'm not sure about that. Actually, this year it will go to the Australian Curriculum and Reporting Authority, ACARA, for its draft science curriculum. Now, this is an interesting choice. While a national education curriculum may or may not be welcomed, the science component has been roundly criticised, in particular the teaching of evolution. One of the fundamentals of modern science has become virtually sidelined, appearing only in one section of Year 10 in high school only. The evolution of man is not part of the syllabus, and all examples of evolution are given as elaborations in the draft syllabus. It's very sad to see there's no mention of Charles Darwin, for example. And this particular strand of the syllabus apparently leaves open the possibility of schools specifically teaching creationism. A practice prohibited in most state syllabi, this document seeks to replace. So, for letting what's the phrase, who's at the gates? The wolves at the gate? Is that the right one? The barbarians are at the gate. The bench spoon for 2010 goes to the, and let's say it again, Australian Curriculum and Reporting Authority for its draft science curriculum. Thank you. Mine's a more positive award, which I'm always nice to give out. You may or may not know that the Australian Skeptics was started 30 years ago, which at that time was actually made us the second oldest skeptical group in the world. Now, the oldest was Psychop in America, and actually, in its formal sense, Psychop actually no longer exists. It's actually transformed into CSI, which makes the Australian Skeptics the longest-lasting skeptical group in the world. But it might not have always been that way. In the earliest stages of the Skeptics, as James Randi and Dick Smith explained earlier on, there were three people probably key to the establishment of the Skeptics. Two of them are here today, Dick Smith and James Randi. One of them was here yesterday, but he is extremely ill. He's suffering from early stage Parkinson and various other illnesses, but he was here for a short time yesterday. The issue is that Mark Plummer was the initial president of the Australian Skeptics and really sort of the founder in a way. He was certainly the driving engine, and if anyone who knew Mark in those days, driving was the key word. Mark was frenetic in his energy. He tired everybody out. He just would not stop. He was a lawyer, but that didn't deter him from actually fighting all the way through, and he drove everybody, always with a smile and very black curly hair. The trouble is, Mark left after a while. He actually joined Psychop, and he moved on back to his lawyering profession. And he has been sick lately, and he's now living in Byron Bay. We did invite him down, but his sickness, he's had to go back. But nonetheless, we did actually arrange for an award to go to Mark, in thanks, because it is the 30th anniversary of Australian Skeptics. It is the first TAM Australia, and we had, at least for a while, all three founders of the Skeptics in one place. So just for this plaque, and I'll ask someone later on to come up and collect it, is in recognition of Mark Plummer for your inspiration and leadership in establishing the Australian Skeptics in its formative years, and for your continued drive in creating what is now a vibrant and successful skeptical organisation. The Australian Skeptics say thank you. I'll ask Dick Smith if he could come up to collect the plaque. Thank you.
Very much on behalf of Mark, and I'll personally go to Byron Bay and present it to Mark. I know he'll be delighted.
Okay, so our next award is the Skeptic of the Year. Now, this morning, for those of you who were here, you would have heard Paul talking about positive change and that the tools of skepticism can be used to achieve good things. And sometimes we're accused of sort of just taking things away from people, debunking their beliefs about angels or ghosts, and not really giving anything back. But I think the winner of this year's Skeptic of the Year is a good example of how you can give something back. It's basically an example of how when you get together as a bunch of skeptics and work as a team, you can achieve something really good. This is an example of a bunch of disparate, unconnected and unknown to each other skeptics who all got mad. And they got independently mad, actually, from different parts of Australia to fight one cause, and that was the ABN. Now, they all took a different approach, but they were smart about how they did it. They were tenacious, and mostly they were dogged. And this happened about 18 months ago, and the results have since been huge. Firstly, the ABN has most importantly lost the respect of the Australian media. When they used to be called upon for balance in stories about vaccination, they are now being called anti-vaccination routinely. Meryl Dorey is now considered to be a quack by the media. And yeah, that's worth it. And this all started when the ABN was found to be misleading by the Healthcare Complaints Commission, following the complaint submitted by Ken McLeod. When when the ABN refused to publish a disclaimer put forward by the HCCC, the Streisand effect took hold, and more people have found out about them than they would have if they just put up the disclaimer. They were audited for irregularities with their monies, and this followed a complaint submitted by Wendy Wilkinson, who's also here today. In addition to that, they were battered by copyright complaints because they were selling other people's material on their website for profit. Now, although the ABN still exists, their reputation is in tatters. Throughout the process of this campaign, there has been a large group of people working tirelessly and hammering away at the ABN, keeping journos in the loop, writing letters to all and sundry, and as Ken mentioned yesterday in the SBM workshop, the only people yet to not receive a letter from Stop the ABN is probably the Commission on the Locust Plague. Is that correct, Ken? So, for their tenacity, for their hard work, and for the McCaffreys, the winner of the Skeptic of the Year is Stop the ABN. The Facebook group, Ken McLeod and Wendy Wilkinson, can you please come forward? Yeah, would you like to say a few words? We've probably got a little bit of time, I think. Ken, would you like to say a few words?
As the most verbose in the group, and I'm awfully glad to see that I'm not the oldest person in the group tonight. I think Dick's a couple of years older than me, and James just a couple more. On behalf of our little group, which is now numbering well over 2,600, non-paying members, unfortunately, but the group was put together by Daniel about 18 months ago, and it attracted all sorts of flotsam and jetsam such as us, all contributing our special skills. Mine is bureaucracy, as I said yesterday. Wendy's is nursing science. We did this because we all got mad at the incredible lies being told about immunisation and the fact that the Australian media was sucking it up, and that really got me burned up. And so applying our special skills, we thought we would do what we could in memory of Dana McCaffrey, and we were doing it for her and her parents who are not here tonight, and that's Dave and Tony McCaffrey, who I'm sure are still cheering us on. And on and upwards, isn't that right, Dan? On and upwards.
Congratulations, guys. Also, to follow on from that, Ken just touched upon the media and the impact that the campaign at SABN has had on changing the perception that the media has of the anti-vax lobby in this country. And I think that's incredibly important. I think we've had a lot of victories with this campaign, but I think one of the most important ones is that we've changed the perception of the media. There's been a couple of people, or one in particular that I'm going to talk about now, who's been instrumental in doing that. The false balance that we used to get, which is the concept of we must get both sides of the story, has gone from the Australian media almost entirely with vaccination. We first noticed the change in this following a report on ABC's Lateline back in July 2010, and this is by a journalist by the name of Steve Kinane. Now, sadly, Steve can't be with us today because he's not only covered the anti-vax lobby in his investigative reporting, he's also covered the BCA case, which was against Simon Singh last year, the British Chiropractic Association suing Simon for libel. He's also covered the TGA not enforcing complaints issued against practitioners that make outrageous and spurious claims, and this includes Homeopathy Plus, which Richard gave a dishonourable mention for the bent spoon. They also claim they could cure AIDS and cancers. Now, the reason Steve isn't here today is because he's been taken ill, and I got a text message from him a couple of days ago where he said he thinks that all of the stuff he's done about alt-med and CAM products has all come back. They've put a curse on him, perhaps, and so he's quite ill. He should be here tomorrow, we hope. So we want to acknowledge the work of Steve Kinane for reporting the truth and accurate science in the mainstream media.
The last award for today, or for this year actually, is the Thornett Award for the Promotion of Reason, an award which since its inception last year has become known in true awards fashion as the Fred, because it is named after Fred Thornett, who was a skeptic and the secretary of Tasmanian Skeptics for many years. Fred died in April of last year, and his family and many friends miss him dearly. It was therefore almost natural that after some discussion it was decided to establish our award for the promotion of reason in his name. The Fred is awarded to a member of the public or public figure who has made a significant contribution to educating or informing the public on issues of science and reason. Apart from the recognition, $1,000 are awarded to the recipient or to a charity or cause of their choice. The award for 2010 is awarded to two people who have contributed in different ways to the same cause. Because their contribution was independent and the effect of their work was cumulative, we have decided that they should jointly receive the award, with $1,000 awarded to each. So without further ado, I'm happy to announce that the winners of the 2010 Thornett Award for the Promotion of Reason are... Where's Gio? I need a drum roll. Okay. Ken McLeod and Wendy Wilkinson.
It's just that grassroots skepticism works and can be very powerful when we all get together.
Congratulations to all the award winners, well deserved, particularly those scoundrels in science education. How dare they?
And when TAM was all over, I jumped on a plane, went to Melbourne for a few days to relax with my good friend Steve Roberts from the Victorian Skeptics. The next day, Rebecca Watson, Brian Dunning and Lisa Dunning turned up, and we spent some wonderful time together. We went to a George Hrab concert, and Brian and Rebecca gave some talks in Melbourne.
So this was something that the wonderful people at the 365 Days of Astronomy podcast asked me to write a theme song.
Pamela Gay, Dr. Pamela Gay said, could you write us a theme? I said, yes, I could. Yes, Pamela Gay. Wahoo. The sexiest voice in podcasting. Dulcet tones talking about black holes and... So she asked if I could write a song. And I said, sure, what should it sound like? And she said, it should not sound like Enya. And I said, I can totally do that. And this is what we got. You ponder the universe and a look comes across your face. You try to fathom distances of all the stuff in space, but you can't wrap the bacon of your mind around the fig of all the terms required to describe how big is big. So let me get specific and use words scientific. Let me whip out my thesaurus for this exacting chorus. Hey, this stuff is far. Really far. Stuff is far away. We're talking far. Like far. Hanging there by car in a day. It's super duper crazy. Probably not just pulse out crazy. Thousands stars. I mean, it's far. Far. But there's down. Listen to a shout. This stuff is far. It's full of stars. Coming off inside your brain, cause your mind gets blown by what I just explained. Sorry if my words might drive you all insane, but that's what happens when precision is your middle name. So that exacting factor, like some sex in a protractor, using details quite semantic, I'll show how huge is this gigantic. This stuff is far. It's really far. Far away. We're talking far. Crazy, probably not just pulse stars, waves, and stars. I mean, it's far, far. If there's a doubt, listen to a shout. This stuff is far. Big to explain in any concise ways. It might just have to take 365 days. I hope that I have offered up some technical assistance and haven't caused your ticker too much ventricular resistance. But you have got to listen and trust my insistence that I am very accurately describing the distance. One more time. This stuff is far. Really far. It's far away. We're talking far. Like super far. Take it there by car and day. Super duper crazy. Probably not just pulse stars. But it's on the stars. I mean, it's far. If there's not, listen to a shout. This stuff is far. Pretty far. Nicely done, nicely done. My goodness, great.
Well, this is not exactly the think tank. It's what would you call it? The moving car episode.
Considering the amount of rain, I'd call it the drink tank. Well, yeah. No, that's more appropriate for other venues.
Now, I'll just get everybody to introduce themselves as we're driving along.
I'm Tom. G'day.
I'm our driver.
I'm Jamie.
Jamie from
CFI Vancouver.
Hey.
I'm Richard from the Young Australian Skeptics.
I'm Richard from the Old Australian Skeptics. and
I'm Brian Dunning from Skeptoid.com.
Hey.
All right, that's it. That's all we needed.
That's all.
So this is one of the after TAM sort of great cool down, relaxing times for us, Brian.
Yeah, we just went to not the zoo. Where were we? Healesville Sanctuary. Just had a spare day off here between pub nights, and so about 10 of us, I guess, came out here and checked out the koalas and tassies and wombies and cowabungas and kookaburras.
Were they sitting in the old gum tree?
They were not, and I was very disappointed. We got into a little tussle with the management trying to get our money back, and didn't work out well.
So, of course, you came to Australia really to participate in TAM Australia. Now, you've been to many TAMs before. Would you say this one was better, worse, or simply different?
It was I won't say it's better, but it was certainly the highest level TAM, as good as any TAM I've been to. And I think I actually enjoyed the slightly smaller numbers than we get at the big TAMs in Las Vegas. There's so many people, you kind of get lost in the sea. I'm okay. And here we had, 600? Is that right?
630 roughly.
Yeah, which was, still a very large number, but it was, you saw the same faces over and over again more often, and it was more personable, and just a really neat crowd. There were no weirdos here. There's always a few weirdos at the larger meetings, and I got to say, I didn't see any.
Nobody stood up and made an ass out of themselves.
Except the speakers, namely me. But
does that really normally happen at TAMs?
Yeah.
It can happen.
It's not characteristic of TAMs, but in many large gatherings, especially in the United States, maybe it's an Australia thing. You've always got weirdos who show up. When we have skeptics in the pub, there's often some kind of a character who's, I don't know, militant one thing or another, and it's just kind of a turnoff for everyone. And we didn't have no incidents. It was really a fun time.
It really was. It was. I'm glad we were able to give everybody an extra day, because the Friday we thought we'd have an extra day before TAM. It was a bit weird because it really did start on the Friday. And I had people coming to me on Friday night after just one day saying their minds were blown already. But I think Dr. Carl did that because he goes like a million miles an hour.
Yeah, Dr. Carl was a great way to kick off the show. Who actually did kick it off? Who was the first speaker?
That's asking me a hard question because it's all a blur to me now. The first thing was a panel.
Oh, yeah.
Paranormal in Australia.
Yep.
With Randi and Barry Williams and Steve Roberts, our host. Yeah.
And then I had the panel on skeptical activism, and that was the same time as Steve Novella's
medicine.
Science-Based medicine.
Didn't you do Sounds from Beyond on the Friday?
No, I did that. That was the first one on Saturday morning.
Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
You opened day 1.
Yeah, Saturday was day 1, Friday was day 0, as someone pointed out. Didn't Ron point that out?
Somebody did.
Yeah.
It worked. What the hell, it worked.
It worked indeed.
So, for your Australian fans, Brian, impressions of Australia?
I can't do a good Australian impression.
No, you fool.
Crikey!
This is your first visit, right?
Yeah, there's different ways to look at impressions of the country, impressions of the people.
Yeah.
As far as the country goes, we started out going to Uluru, which couldn't have been a better way to start off the visit. We did it right and spent 2 nights there, so we had a full day and a little bit of time on either side. Started it out right with a helicopter trip.
Wow.
The first afternoon, so that when we had our full day, we knew everything about where to go and what to do and what not to do. And that's just, of course you see pictures of Ayers Rock or Uluru all over the place, but you really can't appreciate it till you go there in person. It's vastly more amazing than pictures or words can describe. As are the Olgas nearby. Kata Juda? Yeah, and then we've been to Sydney and Melbourne, and I guess everyone here knows about Sydney and Melbourne, so I don't have to say anything about those. But the Australian people, the ones I've met, have been mostly people in the skeptic movement, and as I've observed one of the pub nights, I have the most listeners to my show per capita in Australia than in any other country.
Well, last night it was a packed house.
Oh,
you and Rebecca Watson.
I don't know how many people they squeezed in there. There had to be 200 or something.
They counted. The staff did a head count. They got to over 200.
Over 200.
Wow,
yeah,
fantastic.
Crammed into a pub. It was great.
At the big TAM skeptics in the pub, we had 220.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's really impressive.
Yeah, they must have really been tight in there.
Yeah.
Because that was a smaller room.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just went really, really, really well. Someone make a comment.
Someone say something. Got any questions for Brian?
I concur. It was an awesome night. The talks were really well received. There was only one odd question from that Christian bloke, but Rebecca's answer to his question was extremely well put.
I would disagree. It wasn't an odd question. I thought it was a good question. It was a Christian guy who stood up and said, how can you people say that there's no such thing as God? How can you know that? And of course it's a bit of a straw man because nobody's making that argument. But it is a very popular question that Christians have, of not just of atheists, but of skeptics in general. I didn't answer. I avoided the question because atheist activism is completely outside of what I do. Yeah. That's not an interest of mine at all. But Rebecca, she gave him what could arguably be described as a good slam down, which that's one way to answer that question, and another way would be to give a more what's the word? Warm and fuzzy explanation of what we're actually doing, what we're actually about.
What did you say, the slam down?
Smackdown, I guess would be better.
Smackdown.
But she did a great job.
I think it was still well explained, though. It was a smackdown, but it was sort of a smackdown with a point, which was nice, I thought. It's Rebecca's style. Everybody has their own style, and
I noticed part of her style is not suffering fools gladly when they're asking questions. If someone can't articulate their question, she doesn't wait. She says, come on, you got a question or what?
There was that extremely long and rambly question that chap at the front asked, or chap behind me asked, that went on and on and on, and I still don't know what he was talking about.
That's what Rebecca said. Do you want to draw diagrams?
That poor guy, I think he had a good question, but he was just having a lot of trouble verbalizing it. Once he got started, he just got all tangled up and didn't know where to go.
His comment to himself was language fail.
He said language fail, did he?
To himself, yeah.
Well, folks, we've had a wonderful day visiting the wildlife park, looking at all sorts of animals, and now, when we drove there, it was in the rain. When we got there, the clouds parted and it was stinking hot.
Sunscreen and all.
Sunscreen, and now it's all rain again. But that's Melbourne for you.
Yeah.
That's how I hear. Yeah, they're all nodding in their heads.
Yeah. We're lucky it'll snow later.
I can't wait for that. And tonight we have another talk by yourself and Rebecca Watson. So you've had a busy time, Brian, in Australia.
Very busy, and I've enjoyed every moment of it. We've had very little time off. It's mostly been at one event or traveling to and from events, which is the best way to spend the time, in my opinion. But the time off that we've had, like today, has been equally well spent.
So if we can arrange another tour for you, maybe visiting Brisbane, Perth, Adelaide, other centres, you'd be interested?
Oh, I wouldn't hesitate.
It's good to hear. Well, thanks to everybody, and thank you, Brian Dunning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Announcing Skeptours.com. Adventures for the Curious Mind. For the past 5 years, we've organized trips to some of the most interesting destinations worldwide. We're now accepting bookings for our next 2 voyages, starting with an affordable and exciting trip to Jamaica and Grand Cayman Island this March. And in October, we're going to Egypt to ponder the pyramids. Starting in Istanbul, we'll stop in Haifa and Jerusalem before we spend 2 full days in Egypt at Alexandria and Giza. Exclusive Skeptics-only tours will be included, and we may have a special guest or 2. Skeptours are tours by skeptics and for skeptics. Our trips are designed to foster community as much as education. Also, our tours are all-inclusive. No hidden fees like shipboard gratuities or port charges. For more information on our exciting trips, please visit www.skeptours.com or call us at 1-800-794-SHIP. Skeptours, Adventures for the Curious Mind.
It was wonderful to spend time in Melbourne, thanks to the Victorian Skeptics and the Young Australian Skeptics. The George Hrab concert was fantastic, and the talks given by Brian Dunning and Rebecca Watson were very well attended, over 220 people at one. But for this week, it's still a very tired but happy Richard Saunders signing off from Sydney, Australia.
You've been listening to the Skeptic Zone, Visit our website at www.skepticzone.tv for comments, contacts, and extra video reports.
The Skeptic Zone.